It's a glorious evening to be out in an Elise with the roof off. So I thought I would take the opportunity to catch up with a few things. This is the first drive out with Project 260 Phase 1, which is these silver wheels on the wider Cup 260 size.
So here's your first look at the car on the silver ultralight alloy wheels, which as it happens actually did come off a Cup 260, and they are shod with the 10mm wider front and rear Yokohama AD08RS. Now the first surprise to me was the smaller rolling radius of the wider tyres. I had imagined that Lotus would have kept the same rolling radius as the Cup 260 spec Yokohama A052. But the first thing I learnt about the Cup 260 is that some of the ride height drop is actually coming from the tyres, and also that the overall gearing is also going to be slightly lower. Now it's fair to say that the A052 tyre is a higher spec, higher performance tyre in terms of being more track focused. It's famously very soft and doesn't last long even on a very lightweight Elise. But it is a higher spec tyre, or certainly in terms of outright grip and performance. So I think it's fair to say that the Cup 260 wider AD08RS is actually more of a cosmetic move than a performance gain, especially when you see the weight difference.
And I can say honestly that the whole car does feel a little bit lower. Now I thought that the gearing would actually be reduced by the smaller rolling radius, particularly at the back. However, I have attempted to measure it and it doesn't appear unchanged, which is strange. Maybe it's very slightly unchanged. But the car's ride has suffered a little bit. It's not much, but the car does feel a little bit more. You do feel a few smaller ripples and bumps a bit more clearly. I can't comment on the actual cornering limits driving it on the road, but it doesn't feel any worse in any way either, for that matter. But the ride has suffered slightly, and I think when I get to the Cup 260 springs on the adjustable nitron dampers, which I have yet to buy, the ride is just going to have to suffer. So anyway, I've got no other opportunity to try a Cup 260 before I do the mods, but at least I will get to know what a Cup 260 was like to drive once I've done it. So that's quite exciting. That was quite a big part of the reason why I chose this colour for this car, even though I thought it was sort of appropriate for a last Elise. I'm delighted Lotus agreed to it, because this was of course the same colour used by Lotus for their press car Cup 260, which as far as I can tell I've only found one video on YouTube featuring that car, and that's the Henry Catchpole Carfection video, which if it had been on videotape I would have worn out by now, the number of times I've watched it. But this car in this colour and this spec, even down to the interior with the black and the yellow stitching, that has reproduced, that means I can reproduce almost exactly the Cup 260 spec of that car. So when we get back to the garage I can show you some of the other bits that I've got ready and waiting to put on. I do know the Cup 260 rides lower than this. It's set up with more rake, so it has less ground clearance at the front, but I think that's responsible for a lot of the increase in downforce figure, where the car jumps up to an enormous 180 kilos of downforce at its top speed of just under 150 miles an hour. So it's a big increase in such a light car. But this feature here, being able to take the roof off, you don't realise how much sky you're missing out on in a small low sports car until you take the roof off. So this currently has the wheels and tyres of the Cup 260. It has the air filter mod, the K&N air filter of the Cup 260. So engine wise it's the same as the Cup 260. Tyre wise, same as the Cup 260. It's got the same brakes as the Cup 260. It's the lightweight discs brakes of the Cup 260. It's got all the carbon parts of the Cup 260, including the engine cover. It's even got the black rear panel that the Cup 260 press car had. So what I need to complete this quest are really the nitron dampers and the setup, and then the car will drive exactly like a Cup 260, but of course the final thing that's missing is the Cup 260 rear wing, which is a absolutely stunning device and changes the look of the car quite fundamentally. So have a little looky at what you get for your some £5,000 English pounds from Lotus Parts. Now the reason I jumped on this is because I think it's something that's going to be very hard to get hold of, if not impossible already. I think when somebody orders one they probably make a couple, and then so they have one for spare, one for stock, and then once that's gone, I think the current Lotus management have very little interest in the older cars, and I think this is something that's going to become very hard to find. They only sold a handful of Cup 260s in the world, so, and I think there's only one officially recognised one in the UK, so it's not a car they're going to bother holding a lot of spare parts for. Anyway, what you get in here is some end plates. Now these are not painted, as you can see, so I didn't even get them painted for what they charge. I was sent these end plate decals, which are the wrong shape, so they'll have to go back, but there are some very nice things in here, such as the alloy machined mounting brackets,
which I will be keeping silver. So all the bits needed are in there, but the main event, obviously, let's put that down, is in here. And it is very light, as you might expect. It is a very large piece of carbon fibre. So here's where the giant plank will go. Anyway, I'm not actually rushing to fit it today, but I thought while one was available I ought to jump on it, just in case at any stage in the future I wanted to do it and it was no longer available. So here is this rather lovely thing. Stunning, flawless piece of carbon fibre, and a proper wing section. This isn't a spoiler, this is a proper wing section which creates lower pressure under it, higher pressure on top, which creates actual downforce whilst being aerodynamically efficient. A spoiler is not aerodynamically efficient, it just creates drag, but drag in the right place. So this is where we are, this is where I'm at with it. So the wing is here, all the bits I need to put it on is here. Now the good thing about this wing is that it uses exactly the same mounting points as the standard wing, so I don't have to cut or drill into this beautiful immaculate clam, rear clam. So the critical thing about that is that it's reversible should anyone want to revert this back to a Cup 250 final edition. So the Cup 260 wing sits back here somewhere, higher and right at the end of the car. Now I am reliably informed by someone who has got one of these wings that it makes opening this hatch getting stuff in and out of there pretty difficult, which may explain partly why this wing was curved in such a way to make access to stuff in the luggage compartment such as it is. The question remains, what do you think? Do you think it's an act of utter madness? Am I being an absolute lunatic, or would you love to see a Cup 260 on the channel and learn more about how it drives and what Lotus did to that incredible unicorn car which inspired this car? So when I spec'd the car, I had in mind from the beginning that I could turn it into a Cup 260 replica. So clearly a very unhealthy obsession with a ridiculous car. If I was to do this, I wouldn't change the badges. I'm not going to pass this off as a Cup 260. Final edition Cup 250 in gold. There's only one, this is it. So in a way, is it maybe too special to start messing around with? But on the other hand, it is reversible, so you can put that wing back on. But I mean, look at it, it's a carbon fibre immaculate 250 wing. Active lunacy getting rid of it, but I'll keep it so that if I was to sell the car, that could be reversed. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Should I go for it, or should I just stop this madness now and enjoy a fun edition Cup 250 as it is? It's special enough, really, isn't it? Anyway, thank you as always for watching, and I will keep you updated with what's next. I think I probably will go for the Nitron dampers anyway. I think that would be a nice addition to soften them off for the road, firm them up for the track. I think that's worth having, and they're not wildly expensive, unlike many of the other bits. So anyway, more updates coming to the channel soon. Thanks as always for watching.